Welcome to day 19 of our yoga advent calendar. That means we have 5 days left. Oh my goodness me. So I'm mat based today, but you can absolutely do today's session on a chair. So grab your mat, grab your chair, grab your space, wear comfortable clothing you can move easily in, and I will see you in a second. Bring your hands to prayer position at heart center. Take a soft gaze. We'll do our 3 breath check-in. Breathing in and out is 1. In and out is 2. In and out is 3. Lovely stuff. So if you are on a chair, come to the centre of your chairs. If you're on a mat, come to kneeling towards the back of your mat, I'd say. So we're going to start how we left off yesterday with a few good mornings, just to get ourselves moving, get ourselves a little bit warmed up. So if you are kneeling, you can either have your toes tucked underneath you or feet flat on the mat, your choice entirely. I'm choosing feet tucked, toes tucked. So bring hands to prayer position at heart center, whether you are seated or not. As you inhale, lift up to a high kneeling position, arms overhead if you are seated and if you are kneeling. Exhale, bring the hands down to prayer position. If you're kneeling, bring the hips to the heels. Inhale, hands come down to the mat. If you are on the mat, if you are seated, hands come down to the knees, drop the stomach, look forward or up into our cat pose. As we exhale, we bring ourselves down to the mat, and if we are seated, fold forward, hands come to the knees. Inhale, baby cobra, so shoulder blades down the back, we look forward a little bit. Exhale, fold into child's pose if you're on the seat. And if you're on the mat, feet together, knees mat distance apart, hips to heels, chest comes down, forehead comes down. We don't stay here long, so inhale, lift yourselves up to a high kneeling position, lift yourselves up to neutral seated, arms overhead. Exhale, hands come down to prayer position, heart center, hips to heels, low kneeling position. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, raise the arms overhead, lift up if you're kneeling. Exhale, hands come down to the prayer position, hips back if you're kneeling. Inhale, hands come down to the mat or to your knees, drop the stomach, open the chest, look forward or up, cat pose. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor or fold forward. Inhale, open the chest, shoulder blades down the back, baby cobra. Exhale, come into child's pose. So we fold forward on a chair, hips back onto the heels, chest down. Inhale, lift yourselves back up to seating or kneeling, arms overhead. Exhale, hands down to prayer position. Lovely. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, hands down to prayer position at heart center. Inhale, cat pose, so hands onto your knees or to the mat. Open the chest, look forward up. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor or into a forward fold. Inhale, baby cobra, shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, take it into child's pose. So we fold forward or we bring hips to the heels, chest down, forehead down. Inhale, lift yourselves up to seated or kneeling, arms overhead. And exhale, hands come down to prayer position, heart center. Lovely stuff. So from here, we're going to take our right hand down to the mat beside us or onto the right thigh if you're seated. Arms come overhead, left arm comes overhead even. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take the side stretch. I'm getting there. Inhale, lift yourselves back up. We'll take it the other side, so left hand down, right arm overhead. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take the stretch. Breathe. Inhale, lift yourselves back up. And then if you are on the mat, come to seated. I'm going to turn to face you. You can sit whichever way you want on the mat. If you're on a chair, just come to a neutral seated position if you weren't already. So from here, oh in fact, I want to turn the other way now. From here, we're going to cross our left leg over our right. So if you're on a chair, cross your left leg over your right. So if you're on the mat, either have your right leg straight or you can bend that right knee as well. Your choice entirely. Your left foot is on the mat, knee bent on the other side of your right thigh. If that's not working for you on the mat, feel free to have the foot on the other side of the right knee. It really doesn't matter. Right hand comes to your left knee, left hand comes behind. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, take the twist around towards your left knee. Again, if that's not working for you, you can always twist the other side. Find what works for you. Breathe. Half Lord of the Fishes. Lovely stuff. Inhale, come back through to centre. And then what we're going to do, we're going to, if you're on a chair, just gently ease your left ankle so it comes over the right thigh. If you're seated, bend that right knee. It might help if I am on this side actually. I'm going to stop moving around at some point. I might do, I might not. So, if you're seated, bend that right foot, bend the right knee, foot flat on the mat. Left ankle is over the right thigh. Everybody, toes are flexed. So the left toes are flexed back towards the knee. Staying here if this is enough for you. If you are seated, feel free to go into a forward fold just to encourage the stretch a little bit more. You don't have to. Likewise, if you are seated, maybe ease that right foot in and take your hips towards the foot heel. Your choice. The idea is that we are easing the left knee away from the face. So we are opening up into the hip. Breathe here. Breathe. If you feel any kind of pinching, any tension that you feel like you can consciously release, do so. Lovely stuff. So if you are on the mat, just ease your hips away from the heel. Maybe straighten that right leg out. Straighten the left leg out. If you're on a chair, hug the left knee in, place it back on the floor. Do a little wiggle if that feels good. So we will do the same the other side. So hugging that right knee in, we'll take the foot, cross the right foot over the left leg. So cross your right leg over the left leg if you're seated. Right foot comes to the mat. Bend that left knee if that feels good. You do not have to, you can have that left leg straight. Left hand comes to the right knee, right hand comes behind. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, take the twist. We're trying not to kind of have too much weight in that back hand, so we can be self-supporting and release that hand. Your gaze potentially over that back shoulder, doesn't have to be. Breathe. Excellent. Unravel yourselves. And then if you are on a chair, just move your right ankle, bring your right ankle over the left thigh. If you are seated, take the left leg out in front of you. Bend the knee, foot flat on the mat. Everybody, toes are flexed so they're pointing back towards the knee. If you are seated and it feels right, you can fold forward if you wish to. If you're on the mat, maybe easing that left leg foot in and then hips to heels. Have your hands behind you just to support yourself. And ease that right knee away from the face. So we really are getting into the hips. Pigeon seated. Breathe, if you weren't already. Lovely stuff. So, if you are seated, hug the right knee in, place the right foot on the mat. If you are on the mat, take the left leg out in front of you, Release the right leg. Shake anything off that you want to shake off. And then we'll just come into Dandasana, staff pose. So if you're seated, feet about hip distance apart, push down through the feet. If you are on the mat, legs are out long, toes are flexed, pointing back towards the body. Everybody, calves might be engaged, thighs hopefully engaged. Lengthen through the tailbone ever so slightly. Hands come down to the mat or to your thighs. Shoulder blades down the back. Notice if your tummy muscles are fired on. Notice if you want to fire on the pelvic floor muscles. Breathe. Dandasana. As you inhale, raise the arms overhead. Don't forget that engagement through the legs or through the stomach muscles. Exhale, keep the hands the same distance apart that they are. And exhale, twist round, bring the hands down to the mat. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist to the other side. Hands stay the same distance apart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hands down either side. Well, twist to one side, sorry. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, take your twist to the other side. One more time each side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist to the first side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale, lift up. And then from here, just let your arms drop. Feels so good to just let them drop after all that control, just to let them drop. Balance between control and letting things go. Bend both knees. Feet come together. So if you're on a seat, just ease yourself towards the edge of the seat. Bring your feet together and everybody let the knees come out either side. Let gravity do its thing. So if you're on the edge of your seat, we're going to fold forward, whether you're on the mat or on a seat. Just be careful if you are on a chair so you don't fall off. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward, allow the back to round. Allow things just to start to rest out. Breathe. And then as you inhale, lift yourselves back up. Bring your hands either side of the knees. Bring the knees in towards each other. And for anybody on a mat, come to lie down on your mat. Can you see Daisy dreaming? It's a bit concerning. Anyway, so we're lying down on a mat if we're on a mat. If we are on a chair, we stay seated. You can always bring your back against the chair at this point. We're not going straight into Shavasana. We're going to hug the right knee in towards the chest. And then we're going to what we're going to do? Just, if you're on the mat, just shift your hips over towards the centre of the mat. And then with your left hand, bring your right foot knee over towards the left side. So if you are on a chair, cross your right leg over the left leg. Left hand on the knee, right hand comes out at shoulder height or it comes just above you, well, kind of towards your ear. Take a few breaths. I think I like to call this a cat stretch because it really does feel just like a super releasing cat-like stretch. Couple more breaths. I can see Daisy's paw. It's lovely. Inhale, come back through to centre. So hug your right knee in, shift the hips over if you're on the mat, and then swap knees. So the right leg goes out long or back to the floor, left knee hugs in. If you're lying on the mat, just shift your hips over again once more. Right hand comes to the left knee, cross the left knee over the right leg, or left arm out at shoulder height, or bring it up, knee or ear. And especially if you are seated, might feel a little bit nicer with the left arm kind of overhead. Breathe here. Is that a good dream? And then on your next inhale, just release out. Bring the hips back to centre. Hug the left knee in. If you're on the mat, hug the right knee in if that feels good. And then both feet come down to the mat if you're seated, or legs out long if you're lying on the mat. Hands where is comfortable, so if you're on the mat, arms away from the body, palms facing up. If you're on the seat, have your hands on your laps, palms facing up. Taking a soft gaze or closing the eyes entirely. Let's take a moment to check in at the end of today's session, today's video. Notice how you feel. And we will end with 3 breaths. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. 3rd breath in and out. Staying here if you wish to stay here for a little bit longer. Otherwise, making your way into the rest of your day. Taking a second before you do move just to thank yourselves. And I thank you for joining me. I will see you tomorrow.